Hearing it. I'd like to call to order the Beaver County Board of Commissioners work session for Wednesday, March 15, 2023. Review of work session discussion meeting minutes. Any questions? Hearing none. Department head report. Any department head? District Attorney Lozier.
Hate to go first. You're aware of the regionalization efforts.
Yes.
Every year for the past 4 or 5 years, DCED or DCCD have put out $150,000 grants to encourage departments who are regionalized. And that pays for the wraps on the cars, changes software, unifying record management systems, the cost of just getting things going. And when Baden, Conway, and Freedom were putting this together last year, they did a great job on their budget, and they were sort of leaning on that annual $150,000 grant. They did not publish that grant this year. I think that politically, I think the legislature put so much on the state with the law enforcement grants, the school district grants over the past year. I just think the agencies are overwhelmed as far as putting out grant offers. So they have not put one out. And they can't tell us whether a grant is going to come out this year to encourage regionalization. It's a major government priority, but they have not put out the grant yet. So the 3 municipalities have executed their agreement. They're starting the process of regionalization. They've got this hole that would be that those necessary funds to actually merge equipment, uniforms, personnel costs. So they called in DCED to have a serious conversation twice in the last week. Last Friday, I think they came in and talked to Baden. Tuesday, they called us all down to talk to Conway to discuss, to review the documents. And they say that the region is going very well. The contracts are well written. It's all moving forward, but they're talking about where's this money going to come from. So the representatives who came out can go back to Harrisburg and say, we've got regionalizations that are potentially not going to happen because they don't have that transition funding. What DCD did say on Tuesday, say that twice, what DCED did say on Tuesday was, there's another municipality on East that's merging, and they got ARPA funds from the county to hold them over. So they said, go to your commissioners and see if there are ARPA funds. So I have Mike Steuben here, who is from Baden Council. He is the vice chair of the brand new regional council, and Chief Adam Johnson from Conway, who is the new chief for the new region. And they're here with some numbers, so just to set the table. Mike?
Hello. First of all, I'd like to thank the commissioners, as we thanked them in the past for everything they've done for us. They've been very generous with the ARP money. They've been helping a lot of communities, and that is appreciated. I did not expect to be here asking for something again, but our police consolidation is moving along. We're at about 75% completion. Our goal was the end of April or the earliest or the latest by June. However, because we do not have funding to do some of the setup costs, this is probably going to delay us forming. One of the reasons it's important to us to move along, we do have other communities we're hearing that are interested once we get up and running. Once we get up for a year and get the kinks and bugs worked out, we expect Rochester Township, East Rochester, and other communities to look at it. And eventually, the board itself, we want to look into Ambridge and Rochester Borough. Once we get that, you don't know where it's going to go. You might get Beaver, you might get New Brighton involved, and we might be on our way to a nice-sized police department for Beaver County. And once we get this done, we'd like to take a chance at consolidating fire departments because we think it needs to be done. But because of the funding problems, we think we're going to have to delay. May?
Sure. Absolutely.
We're we feel we're short about $69,000.
Thank you.
As it was mentioned, this came from DCED to come and ask the commissioners. These are the items that are unfunded and we are looking to fund. Police vehicles that was mentioned, the uniforms, the upgrades, we would be ecstatic if the county could come up with 69,000. If they can't, we understand that, but we were hoping if they come up with 40,000, we think we can make this a go with it. I mean, we would probably delay some of the payments, reimbursements and everything, but this is where we're at. I don't know if you have any questions.
DA has all the money, so we can take it out of his budget.
That works
I don't see
fine
any-
with
I don't
me.
see any-
I don't have an
I don't see any
objection.
problem at all. So he got quiet all of a sudden. No, I'm pretty supportive of this. I think we all are. Matter of fact, we just had this conversation with Patrick Doyle from the governor's office about the need for regionalization, that kind of stuff. I'm disappointed because I thought DCED was also, providing this kind of money. So I'm not sure who you spoke to at DCED, but
DCED did not open their grant hearing yet. The money is not available.
okay.
There was rumors that they're gonna open it up in June, but by the time it's opened up,
I got you.
wanna
we
ask
put in
Gary?
the time, we're not gonna be able to get it, everything on our timetable and moving. And there's no guarantee we would get it.
Infrastructure money.
Yeah.
That's what each one of those communities got, infrastructure money. I don't know if it's been spent.
Okay.
204, 176, and 260.
The solicitor, first I was in it, Nikki brought up Act 13. Would any Act 13 dollars be eligible for something like this?
Yeah, potentially could.
Okay. And then the solicitor also mentioned maybe the board should ask the three municipalities if they have already spent their infrastructure. Was it infrastructure or is this disproportionate?
No, the municipality infrastructure.
Okay, municipality
Yeah,
infrastructure
each one
money.
of your municipalities would have gotten infrastructure.
Yeah, we got 204,000 in Beaver. It's actually earmarked. We're in the bidding process
Okay.
of doing.
That's good to
projects
hear.
already.
That's good to hear.
The municipal authority, which also got money, we've already sent requests for payments. We're probably at 80% already spent.
Yeah, all that was allocated to our specific projects, but
Yeah.
we've been holding discussions because that money, we need to start to see work being done towards that money, or else it's going to have to come back to us for reallocation somewhere.
Yes.
Well, I think this is something we could take back to Brian and Corey, who do the finances, and see if there's any ARP money that is available. I think we have a lot of it tied up, but this isn't that large of an ask. I was thinking this was going to be a bigger ask. What was the initial grant for, Dave?
150.
Like the grant that was available before to
They
the.
were offering 150,000.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
To a region.
I thought it was
as
a
they
bigger.
formed. It's the first year they haven't offered it like in February.
Yeah, I thought it was a bigger number than 69,000.
It
So.
was.
Are these numbers pretty, are you comfortable with these numbers here?
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna drain the county commissioners or ask for anything we don't need. It's not worth it. I mean, you have been very gracious to the communities and, we appreciate it. We wouldn't be here except we want to push this and get it started and look into the
Absolutely.
expansions.
The DCE reps that came in said they were going back to Harrisburg to say, we created this issue by not offering the grant that everybody has been expecting. Is there an answer from the DCED? But you know how that process is gonna work. If they come out with a grant, and if they come out in the next month or so.
Yeah.
That's gonna delay the process.
And I would think our state reps would be pretty favorable to supporting stuff as well.
Absolutely.
Then if we use that for our funding and the grant does come through, can they pay us back?
Yeah, we would be able to get reimbursed for that.
We would.
Thank you. Any other department head report? Hearing none, we'll move to the solicitor.
The only items I have are personnel and litigation matters for executive session.
All right. We'll move to the Board of Commissioners.
Well, yesterday we attended a hearing in Darlington Township. I was pretty proud being represented by our chairman, Dan Kemp.
Thank you.
He did an excellent job explaining our proposals and what we needed and what our people needed. And he even did an even better job answering the questions that were proposed to him.
I didn't think we were going to get many questions, but we
Yes,
did.
But, no, you did a good job, Dan.
Thank
We're
you.
very, very proud of you. Hopefully, it's going to lead to something and some legislation on both the state and then with Senator Casey, with our dealings with him, I'm understanding he's proposing new legislation. So we're moving things forward and we're protecting Beaver County as best we can.
And the only thing I had, which Jack might be on Jack, is the resource fair,
Yes.
which is tomorrow night. Director Brewer's here. This resource fair is for anyone in Beaver County, right? Not just Darlington Township residents who may have questions from 6 to 8 at Darlington Township regarding the train derailment. There'll be different tables set up from what agencies, Eric?
Okay.
Oh, I'm letting
Take all those letters.
Yes, all the acronyms.
PADP, Department of Health.
DOH, DEP,
Yeah.
EPA.
Ag,
MOU.
Ag.
ag is a big one, we're pushing to get involved because of the rural farmer area, they want to know if their soil's good, if their waters are good, so.
And I think, as Commissioner Amadeus said, yesterday there was 47 state reps there. It was just under 25% of the House of Representatives showed up, all the way from Montgomery County to Chester County to Erie County to Altoona, Bucks County. I mean, it was
And the
pretty.
reason for that is everybody has a railroad through their community.
So eventually this could affect them one day, but one gentleman who really, I'm going to say this wrong. I call him Representative Vickett.
Yes.
I know you guys talked to him just after when he was
Yes.
leaving. He's an MD. I don't know if he still practices. Emergency room doctor. Obviously took a pay cut to become a state rep because he wanted to see things change. And he made it very clear to his colleagues on both sides of the aisle that this needs to be a long-term investment from the state to make sure that we continue funding for testing and those first responders who were there that may have been at the contaminated site. And I was pleased to hear him say that and explain to his colleagues the importance of
And he
it. So,
especially made a special trip over to Jack and
Yeah.
I to thank us for what we're doing.
Yeah. But that's all I had. I wanted to mention the resource fair at Darlington Township Municipal Building, 6 to 8 tomorrow, Thursday, March 16th. Sure.
Yeah, just to expound on that, we're doing a significant amount, especially with the farming community. We have, I've had direct conversations with people that do the farmers markets and those kinds of things. There's fear and concern. We're getting as much sampling of the farms done with the soil. I can tell you, I think things will be fine, but that's easier for me to say than for them to be convinced of, and even harder for the public at large to be convinced of. But I know we've ordered our farm box. It's a farmer and industry that uses land in Enon Valley and delivers it to Health Hut in Chippewa. And their orders are off significantly. But we placed our orders because I still trust that things will be okay based on what I've seen so far. But the long-term ramifications are something that Dan strongly emphasized that we need to do for this. The other thing I just want to mention, because I don't go on social media all that often, but I was directed to a certain string that was critical of the county and emergency planning, taking some comments out of context that Director Brewer said, saying there's no manual for a train wreck. And they're saying, well, why isn't there a manual for a train wreck? And I said, you understand, there is preparedness and then there's the actual event. And, it's plane crash in Hopewell. I mean, it's, how do you plan
You
for
couldn't
a
plan for
plane
that, let me
crash?
tell you.
How do you plan for trains derailing into the Beaver River with ethanol in them and catching on fire like happened in 2006. You have preparedness to react and, muster resources and handle that. But it's not a page you could turn to saying we just had 50 cars derail in East Palestine. Now we're going to go and figure out page by page by rote how to handle this situation. You never know what you're dealing with. You never know what's in those cars. You have to have transparency. You have to have command and control, and you have to have communication between all the parties involved. The reason this was such a disaster in many ways was because of the lack of transparency, lack of knowledge. These guys ran towards danger, did the best they could to save lives, livelihood, and livestock, right? The hazmat team, the fire departments that were there. You don't turn to a page in a manual on how to do that, but you do train and you prepare and you equip people. And that's what these guys were. They were well prepared, equipped, and trained to respond to those things. They still need the knowledge on the ground of that particular situation. So I was a little disturbed reading this thing, as you can tell. Last night, it was being critical.
It's like when we put our press release out.
Yeah.
People just don't trust government.
Well,
And we were telling people what we knew up to that point about the soil, about the air, and about the water. And right away, people start, attacking that press release, and it's pretty upsetting. But the main thing is the perception, and it's what I try to explain to Senator Casey when he came to Darlington. People have to be able to understand that their water is clean, that the meat that's eating the grain off the land is clean, until we find out otherwise. And we have to make sure so that our farmers markets and our local produce sell. I mean, if everything is good and people have the perception that it's not good, or they don't trust what they're hearing, then people aren't going to buy those foods. And we got to make sure that we put the understanding out that everything's good. So I think the three commissioners, we're going to have to be at the farmers market more often and grab a piece of celery and chew on it in front of everybody. But we have to teach the people, based on what we know up to that point, that what we're saying is true. We're not going to lie to people.
Yeah. And I don't want to undersell this. This has been truly a disastrous event. But we do have a hazard mitigation plan, which we just updated. Every 5 years we do this. And it covers everything from the opioid epidemic, to terrorism, to nuclear incidents, to transportation accidents. I mean, we do. It's not like we don't have plans. We don't prepare. We don't think these things through. We don't figure out how to do it. The point is, a train wreck is called a train wreck. And people use the phrase, boy, was that a train wreck, for a reason. It's because there are things that are outside your control and your
I
ability to
think
handle.
Region 10 is
sometimes.
probably one of the most trained groups in the Commonwealth,
Yeah.
simply because
No
we have the
question.
nuclear power plants here and all the trains. I mean, my time here plus my fire service, I've been involved 50 years. And I remember how it was 50 years ago. And I know how it is today. So our people are well-trained and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but if anybody wants to look at it, it's a 266-page document. That is a plan.
It's on the website.
It's on the website. Thank you.
We don't mind it.
No,
The only other thing I'll emphasize, that thing tomorrow night, again, it's not just Darlington. I was hearing
Yeah,
an
South
earful from some people saying, what about South Beaver? What about Big Beaver Borough? What about New Galilee? What about Elon Valley? We're talking the region, and every conversation that we've had has not just focused on Darlington Township and the 850 feet across the border in East Palestine. We're talking for the whole county. We're trying to bring all the resources we can in our conversations directly with Norfolk Southern, as well as the governor and all those agencies.
Hopefully will be there.
yes.
They have a table.
They are. Okay, so Jeremy Schumacher, probably.
I'm sure he'll be there.
So they have a table, will they be there though?
What are those times
We'll
again,
see.
Commissioner?
6 to 8,
6 to 8,
Darlington
Fire.
Township Municipal Building.
the fire hall there.
And is that only for Butte County residents, or are you opening up to Lawrence County as well? Because I know they felt for Lawrence, I've heard some talk back about the Eden Valley people in Lawrence County. Have felt they-
So this is put on by the Commonwealth, correct? this is, well, the email's coming from the Commonwealth. So I'm assuming that anyone probably in Pennsylvania will get some sort of service, more of a Q&A. Because what was happening was East Palestine had a resource center and they were turning Pennsylvanians away.
People are away.
So that was the need for us to have one here.
Lawrence County is involved.
But Lawrence County is involved. We have a meeting actually this afternoon at 3:00 that Lawrence County Commissioners will be at. I know 2 will be there. I don't know if the third, there's a brand new one just got appointed yesterday, so I don't know if he'll be there or not. But so I wouldn't say that. I would say that they would be welcome to come as well, but we could find that out. Yes, ma'am.
The Department of Health invited pastors to come for
Yes.
spiritual support, and I had a chance to go last week. And actually, they said even people from East Palestine, Ohio, were welcome to receive services.
I didn't think we'd be turning anyone away for the services. So thank you.
And I do want to say, in addition to the Department of Health, DEP, Ag, the EPA,
Behavior health.
our county behavioral health people
Yeah.
and Christians United had tables there, the spiritual health, the mental health. We weren't just focusing on the getting wells tested and that kind of stuff. We're interested in people being healed in this process because the emotional trauma has been, I think, far greater than the physical harm that we have seen so far with the people that have gone to the clinic and have been analyzed. So, thank you.
We'll move to any other business. Audience participation. Yes, ma'am.
Pastor Margarita Gilbert Cordes. I'm a relatively new pastor at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church, just a couple of blocks down here in Beaver, and Hope Lutheran Church in Brighton Township. And Kate Peaches, our council president at Holy Trinity. One of the things we're focusing on as a church is how to reach out into the community. And one of our questions is, what are some needs that we could be aware of in the community? Clearly, the situation in Darlington and Beaver County, but beyond that, on a more ongoing, that has been happening, how can we support people in the community? So that's our question.
Good.
I don't know if I can sit here and answer that right now,
That's all
but
right.
we'd be more than happy to take, and Commissioner Amadeo, Commissioner might have something, but we definitely take the information down and we'll get with Nikki after the meeting and be able to answer that. So obviously, we know that there's many different places and organizations in the county that have needs, but
Yeah, and there are many nonprofits and different groups that are doing similar work and using folks from Christians United and those kinds of activities in different community activities. So we'd be glad to connect you and make sure that you're included in those.
Yeah, we would be glad to come in another time, to
But-
follow up for you.
thank you for coming.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it and welcome.
More information.
How long have you been?
1 year.
1 year. Awesome.
And we host Christians United at our building, so I've had a chance to connect with the ministerium and some of the groups that Christian United works with. But we figure there's more to learn.
Thank you.
Yeah, but several of the agencies that they deal with, we can connect you with that list of
Thanks.
various agencies, county run and some just local.
Thank you very much. Any other audience participation? Hearing none, we will move into executive session. Thank you.
Don't please.